Courtney Summers tries to reassure the passengers. But the temperature is rising, and the smoke is getting thicker by the second. Valujet Flight 592 with the Carpenters, Jay Smith, and 107 other passengers and crew on board is in serious trouble. Seconds from disaster will continue. And now back to Seconds from Disaster. By 2:11 p.m., the situation is getting worse on the DC-9 bound for Atlanta. Smoke is rising from the cabin floor and getting thicker. At the same time, there's a problem in the cockpit. The pilots hear a loud bang on their headphones.
What was that? I don't know.
There's a problem with the plane's electrical system. The battery charger has activated, trying to restore power. Then, smoke starts to seep into the cockpit.
For the 5 minutes, we need a meter return to Miami International.
Turn left, heading 270.
Stand to maintain 7,000.
What kind of problem do you have?
Now it's obvious that something is seriously wrong.
Look in the cabin.
2 miles away, Daniel Muehlhoft is at the controls of a small plane. He sees a large jet making a turn.
We're flying along, and around my 10 o'clock position, I saw an aircraft maneuvering along the canal.
2:11 in 30 seconds. On board the DC-9, Kubek struggles with the aircraft. The controls are no longer responding normally. In the cabin, the temperature is rising. Flight attendant Jennifer Stearns bursts into the cockpit to find out why the pilots haven't lowered the passengers' oxygen masks.
We need oxygen. We can't get oxygen back there. Can't do the mask.
The pilots refuse. They realize they're not going to make it back to Miami and ask for the nearest, smaller airport instead.
We need vectors to an immediate.
And critter 592, vector nearest runway.
From his light aircraft, a crisis is unfolding before Daniel Muehlhoft's eyes.
This guy is out of control.
2:13 p.m. Chris Osceola is fishing with his uncle, Sam Nelson, when he sees the DC-9.
Hey, Sam, look at this plane.
The aircraft swoops just a few hundred yards over the two fishermen.
I don't see flames, I don't see smoke, the landing gear's up. He's doing some odd maneuvers out here.
2:13 and 34 seconds. On board the plane, the passengers and crew have passed out. 2:13 and 42 seconds. Just 9 minutes and 27 seconds after takeoff. Flight 592 crashes into the Florida Everglades. These photos, taken by Daniel Muehlhoft just seconds after impact, show only a dark pool of fuel on the surface of the swamp. From his plane, he radios air traffic control at Miami and tells them he's just seen a plane crash. He stays above the site to help emergency services locate the spot. Fisherman Chris Osceola also takes a photo. When the two men climb to the top of a levee, everything is eerily quiet. The swamp has absorbed the 53-ton aircraft.
And not to see anything at all or hear anything. I mean, it was just, you hear birds chirping, you know, but you could smell the jet fuel.
The crash site is 300 yards from the nearest levee and 9 miles from the nearest road. Rescuers can only reach it by airboat and helicopter. Sergeant Felix Jimenez from the Miami-Dade Police is one of the first to arrive.
As we got closer to the crash site, I could determine that there was an aircraft that crashed, but it was all in very small pieces.
Good evening. Well, if you've been with us through the afternoon, you know that there has been a terrible air crash just northwest of Miami International Airport. A Valujet DC-9 with 109 passengers and crew bound for Atlanta went down in the Everglades at mid-afternoon.
As the story comes into the networks, rescuers continue to look for survivors until the light fades.
We have not so far been able to find any victims, any survivors, any bodies.
Within hours, the news starts to reach the relatives. Susan Smith discovers the truth about her son in a phone call.
There was horrible screaming, and I realized that it was my daughter. She told me that a plane had gone down coming from Miami. And at the moment she told me that, in my heart I knew that it was the plane that Jay was on.
Jay Smith, on his way home for Mother's Day, has had his life cut short at 24. At her home near Atlanta, Georgia, Captain Kubek's mother, Marilyn, also gets the news.
I really threw myself on the floor and beat the floor in despair. This just can't be true. I'm having a dream, a nightmare. This is not real.
Tabitha Leonard is killed just a week before her 13th birthday. With despair come questions. Why did Flight 592 plummet from the sky just minutes after takeoff? Why were two such experienced pilots unable to save the plane? Now, by rewinding the events of that fateful day and going deep into the investigation, we can reveal what really happened to Valujet Flight 592. Advanced computer simulation will take us where no camera can, into the heart of the disaster zone. 900 miles north in Washington, D.C., National Transportation Safety Board expert Greg Feith watches the news from Miami. He's led two major investigations for the Safety Board before, but he already knows this one will be a challenge.
As I was running around my house packing to leave and having all the TVs on and they were showing aerial views of the accident site, all I could wonder as an accident investigator is how am I going to conduct this investigation when I don't see any visible wreckage?
As Greg assembles the Safety Board's rapid response team, an NTSB official captures the scene with a home video camera. Just 2 hours after the loss of Flight 592, they're en route to Miami and fly over the crash site on the way. It's a sobering sight.
Definitely not a lot of anything out here.
With over 800 DC-9s in service, finding out what happened is an urgent matter. But with a crash site like this, Greg will have to slowly build a picture of what happened, piece by piece.
All the information that you get, all the evidence that you develop is equal until such time is that the storyline, the facts support a particular storyline.
The hole in the swamp is 130 feet long and 40 feet wide. Wearing special biohazard suits to protect them from spilt aviation fuel, rescuers walk shoulder to shoulder, combing the murky water. But the swamp proves almost impossible